Yeah.
The man's telling me to keep track of the screws, but I only see 3 screws.
Okay.
Should be 4.
Hey guys, it's Melissa Morrow with Vintage ReDesign, and today I'm going to make over 2 sets of side tables that I have in my stash. I'm starting out by wiping them down, just making sure I'm starting off with a nice clean surface. I'm starting off by adding some salt wash to some Dixie Belle Silk all-in-one paint in the color Wharf. Here's what the original paint job looked like, and you can see it's a bit dinged up and it's just not particularly appealing. I want to add a little bit of texture to it and make it really interesting. The color that I've chosen is similar to the color that it actually is already. I've got a nice thick mixture of salt wash and Dixie Belle Silk paint, and now I'm just going to dab it on and create this sort of pouncing texture throughout. You're going to see this piece is going to get a lot of change over time. While those pieces are drying, I'm going to attack this set with some Dixie Belle Silk in the color Hampton Olive, and I'm going to combine that with some more salt wash. So as you can already tell, my goal for the day is to create a lot of texture on these dinged up pieces. By adding texture, I don't have to make as many repairs or fill holes or gaps with putty. And now while that second set dries, let's go ahead and go back to the first set where I'm going to add some Fusion Mineral Paint, and I'm going to paint right over all of that texture we just created. I feel like you can see how I'm playing this. I'm just going back and forth between the 2 pieces. So now I'm back to the second set where I'm adding some more Fusion Mineral Paint over the top. The goal is to create layers of texture and colors so that when I sand, it all comes through in the end. Let's keep painting. Okay, so now that I've gotten a lot of texture on here, I've put the hardware back on, but I'm not done. I still have to do the top, and I haven't exactly decided what I'm doing with that yet. But now I want to add some rust effects. This is a Prima product, and it's very thick and gritty inside. And what I'd really like is a brush that's good for stippling. But since I don't have a good round brush for stippling, I'm going to use this large stencil brush. This is a fairly inexpensive stencil brush. I think it's only like $6 or $7, somewhere around there. And I'm going to use that. And the reason I put the hardware on is my goal is to make it look like it's rusty around the hardware and maybe up in the corners. I haven't completely decided. And then I'm going to spray and let it drip down. I saw this in a photo, and if I can find it, I will attach it. But I really loved how that looked. And it's going to be a couple different layers of the rust effects and different colors. And then, then we'll see how it goes. So I'm just going to get some on my stencil brush. Like I said, it's pretty floppy. I'm going to go over the hardware. By the way, this is what I used for the hardware on the rose dresser, if you remember it. The rose sideboard that I did. Pretty shabby one. All right, that's good for my first layer. I will dry that, do it to the other one, and then come in with my next color. Forgot to get all of that. All right. Okay, so this is dried. I wanted to let these dry because I didn't want to spray and have this drip. Instead, I've picked up the red rust of the Rust Effects. You can see it's like the more traditional orangey red, and I've got this brush, which is about the closest thing that I have to a stipple brush right now. Probably have some at home, but I'm not at home. So I'm going to work this in, leaving that darker brown behind. Trying to make this, if you think about rust, it's kind of got a lot of different layers to it. Let me get this bottom area real quick. Handy dandy spray bottle, and let's hope. So one of the fun things that I've noticed when I am spraying is you get this singular line, but if you kind of use your squirt bottle, you can break up those singular lines into little trails that are far more interesting and look a lot more like rust.
The next day.
Okay, I took these outside and used my orbital sander with 220 grit sandpaper. I was very concerned because I had meant to distress them before I did the rust patina. I was afraid it was going to take it all off and I was going to have to redo it all, but I actually am okay with it. So I may choose to do another layer, but right now I'm thinking that we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the blue patina effect. And this is the brush that I used yesterday, and now it is a much better stippling brush. You can see it's in pretty rough shape. So I didn't clean it super well, so it's flared out, which makes it a great stipple brush. It's still soft. It's just got really flared where some got in the middle there, and I didn't clean it well. Okay, I'm gonna touch up these areas where my sander hit and sort of brought it back too much. So I'm just using my finger and I'm just gonna sort of dab. I'm using my finger because honestly, I don't feel like cleaning another brush in reality. Okay. And if that gets to be too bright, I'll sand it back with sandpaper instead of the orbital, but I think it'll be fine.
I'm buzzing, let's drink up. Your death look like big fun. Come on, let's get it on. Like that Marvin Gaye song. I'm stunning, you love it. Come on, give me something. I know that you want it. Come on, give me something. The night is young and so are we. So maybe you should leave with me. The night is young and so are we, baby. The night is young, so let's have some fun. If you love me,
And now to make sure that all of this texture stays the test of time, we're going to add some Dixie Belle satin top coat. We're going to do this in 3 nice clean layers using a blue sponge by Dixie Belle. I've poured the satin top coat into a bowl and I'm using this damp blue sponge and I'm literally just going to drag it over the top. It may look white in places when it's going on, but it will dry completely clear. Several thin layers is always better than a thick layer. And this will keep the texture and give it a slight sheen, which sometimes rust actually has, and it will protect it in case anybody sets drinks, lamps, whatever on it. And here's a quick reminder that you can follow us on all social media at Vintage Bee Design. And we have a community in Facebook called Creating the Hive or Creative Con Vintage Bee. And I've just started this month a new coaching group. Membership is only $20 a month. There's lots of discounts. Links in the description below. Let's get back to crafting. And you probably thought that I forgot about the second piece, but I didn't. All I did after adding the last coat of plaster was give it a sand with a 220 grit sandpaper with my orbital, and then go back and add some dark wax along the door edges and things like that, anywhere it naturally would have gotten dirty over time. I love how this came out, and I know they were pretty neutral before, but the texture on these just feels so yummy. Let me know what you think. It's a surprising neutral, though texture-driven makeover. And come on, this makeover, are you kidding me? It went from neutral and chipped up to, well, even more chipped up, I guess. But the texture is just unbelievable to me. I adore how this came out. And I forgot to film putting in the decoupage paper in the drawers, but look how pretty it is when you open it up. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love everything about it. Let me know what you think. And if you like this video, like, share, and subscribe.